Hello, everybody, and welcome to. Let's get my microphone right. Welcome to today's Friday Live. Here I am on every Friday, live for you at 1:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. This is your opportunity to ask me any questions that you may have about relationships, around life, around what's going on for you. This is where I show up every Friday to see where I can be of service to you based on wherever you are and whatever is going on for you in your life. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Fiona Lukes. I have been in the relationship space for 13 odd years. Lose track now. And I have a really different approach to relationships. I have worked in any and every kind of relationship you can imagine. Siblings, I've helped siblings come back together who don't speak to one another, in-laws, families, obviously couples, parents and children, lots of businesses and teams. And, the one thing that I will say to you is, I'm absolutely passionate about the relationship space. I truly do believe that our ability to do relationships well are just an essential life skill, and the quality of our relationships very much determines the quality and well-being of our lives. So it's something I've been very, very passionate about for a long, long time. And I really feel like I have a very different approach that's much easier and simpler for people. So I'm here to answer any questions you have and also cut through the complicated noise that is out there in the relationship space. Really, really complicated. It's not, your relationships are not successful based on how compatible you are, whether you have the same values. These things really are kind of the old school approach to relationships. I've got lots and lots of people I know and couples that I've worked with who are doing really, really well, who are very, very opposite to one another. And, that has nothing to do with the reason why the relationship is broken down. So, I have a really different way of looking at things that everyone can relate to, because I'm pointing to something that's true for all human beings. And, once you have that understanding, it's unbelievable how much easier it is for you to navigate your own emotional reactions and for you to be able to navigate the emotional reactions of somebody else. So if you've just tuned in, feel free to say hi. I always like to know who's out there, who's listening, and where you are from in the world. So feel free to comment below and tell me where you're from. And where you're listening from. I know some people are tuned in through YouTube, and a lot of you will be tuned in through Facebook. But feel free to say hi and let me know where in the world you are, whether you're in locked down Melbourne, which is where I am. Although we are getting some freedoms tonight. I think we can now go from 5 kilometers to 10 kilometers from our homes. Woohoo! And I think we can exercise from 1 hour a day to 3 hours a day if we wish. So huge changes there coming for us weary lockdown Melburnians. And I know that obviously those of you who are in lockdown, and there are millions of people in lockdown in Australia, lockdown has taken its toll on people. So again, another reason why I want to show up here live, ready to answer any relationship or life questions you may have, because I really want to be of service to you. Just make sure you guys can see me properly. Oops, God, this happened last Friday. Hang on. Honey, I'm live on Facebook. I'll have to talk to you later. Mwah. Bye. Sorry, I forgot to turn my phone off. That was my husband, just in case if you were wondering. I don't answer everyone to my phone like that. Hey, Kirsten, nice to see you, honey. Welcome to the live. Thanks for being here. Anybody else who's just joined who wants to say hello, please do so. I think, Kirsten, you're in Queensland, aren't you? So I don't think you guys are in lockdown at this stage, but thanks for being here. So this is your opportunity. If you have any questions, this is your opportunity to ask them. Anything at all, feel free. Hey, Roz, nice to see you, honey. Welcome. Kirsty, how can we help develop our kids to be better at relationship? Well, I think that's a really great question, Kirsty. And hey, thanks for being on the live. How can we help develop our kids to be better at relationship? What wisdom examples can I set for them? Well, I think it's Your ability to navigate differences is very, very, very important because our children are going to come up against that all day long, aren't they? People who see the world differently to them, whether it be in the form of teachers, some of their peers, friends. That it's okay that you can navigate through differences. I think helping them navigate big emotions is important. I have a lot of adults who come to me who don't know how to navigate big emotions, who struggle with that. So your ability to navigate your own big emotions when emotions become big, your ability to navigate them through calm and ease and clarity is a really great example for our children. It's really important for our children to see that emotions, big emotions, are normal and natural, and that they move through us like a wave. And so for them to be able to see that you're not frightened of your emotions is incredibly helpful for them to know that emotions are not scary, frightening things. They're just a normal, natural part of being human. I think there are a lot of relationships that break down simply because people do not know how to navigate their own emotions nor the emotions of somebody else. Being able to navigate emotions is an important skill, and it's something that we need to be able to bring to the table no matter what relationship we're in, whether it's our relationship with us, whether it's our relationship with colleagues, with life, etc. We've got to be able to know how to navigate our own big emotions. And people have big emotional waves, right? And for most people, when the waves are really high, we do one of two things. We either explode and yell and push it out here onto everybody else, or we retreat and we shut down. And, neither one is better than the other. But what happens, when people retreat and shut down, they get so overwhelmed, they've got no bandwidth, they cannot deal with another thing. This is very, very common for people who are shutting down. You'll see that they are at maximum bandwidth, maximum capacity, can't handle another thing. So it's your ability to navigate those things well, because obviously when we shut down and retreat, that's fine if you understand what's going on. But if you're doing that every single time, that's really destructive to your relationships. And it's also really destructive if you're yelling and projecting the whole time. All right. Those two things, whether it's out or whether it's inward, really are quite destructive to the relationships that we have, whether it's with us and the people around us. And, if they see that that's what you're doing when you've got big emotions, then that's what they'll start doing. And then, they're going to struggle in life, right? Because neither one of those things are healthy, but it's amazing how they become the unhealthy normal, right? They become the unhealthy normal. And I see so many unhealthy normals in my work where people and really once something becomes normal, it just becomes invisible. It just becomes the way things are, but nothing ever is the way things are, right? And so, when you have a lot of unhealthy normals, and another example of an unhealthy normal is people saying, well, stress is normal. Stress is not normal, nor is it healthy. But we tend to just write that off as a natural, normal part of life, and it's not. It's really not. And so how we move through stress is incredibly important in our relationships. But again, we tend to do one of two things: yell and project that out, or disappear and shut down. And so, when those are the only two things you're bringing to the table for your kids to see, then that becomes problematic. But when the greatest thing you can do is learn how to navigate your own emotions and how to navigate somebody else's. And when we can do that well, that's an awesome thing to be able to show our children. And also for our children to learn how to self-regulate. Okay. There are a lot of people that come through my practice who don't know how to self-regulate their emotions. They tend to regulate them by kind of putting them onto everybody else. That's very, very, very common. And they don't know, or they put them out there by either yelling, screaming, or by being really, really, really worried. Okay. Oh, I'm so worried. I'm so worried. I'm so worried. I'm so worried, by talking, talking, talking. Okay. Instead of trusting in their own system to handle that and understanding that. And, big part of what I teach, a big part of my relatable program. So I think this is very, very, very important for people. Han. Hi, Han. How would you deal with a gaslighting person? What advice would you give to the gaslighter and the one being gaslighted? Um, that's a hard question to answer, Han, simply because I would need to know what the circumstances are. sometimes people can classify something as gaslighting that's not gaslighting. Like, I get a lot of people classifying their partners as a narcissist, and when I come and do a bit more research and investigation, they're not a narcissist. They're just shut down and unable to deal with their emotions. So I'd probably need to know what's going on, because in my mind that's a combination of a number of things. Number one, if you are the person being gaslighted, how in tune are you to your own wisdom? A lot of gaslighting comes by people who are in their analytical mind and are asleep at the wheel, so to speak. And I would have a similar conversation to the person who is doing the gaslighting. This is someone who is unable to deal with their emotions. So I would kind of want to know the context around that. But a big thing that I talk about is our ability to be curious and neutral. And this is something that everybody has capacity for, no matter what is going on outside of you. And a big part of what I teach in my online program, Relatable. So it's your capacity to tap into that part of yourself that is untouchable, that is neutral, that is something that transcends your experience, I guess is how I would describe that. And everybody has that aspect of themselves where they're able to transcend their experience, and knowing how to do that and where to look for the answer to that is super, super, super important, and an enormous part of your level of resilience and the way you show up to the behavior of other people. Let me know if that helps, Han, or if you want to give me a little bit more information around that. Sandy, hi Sandy, welcome. Nice to have you here. Now, can you just remind me of where you are? I believe you're in the US, aren't you, Sandy? Is that right from memory? Whereabouts in the US are you? Again, I'm always curious to hear where people are around the world. Hang on, sorry, that's my assistant messaging me. I'm just going to turn off notifications. Sorry, guys. Okay, so let me know where you are, Sandy, and let me know if that helps Han, and Kirsty, let me know if that helps you. And if anybody else has just joined us, feel free to say hi, let me know where you're from. And if you have a question that I can answer for you, please let me know. Nebraska, right. Okay, wow, Nebraska. Now, I have never been to Nebraska. I really know very little about Nebraska, but wow, how cool that we are speaking to you from Nebraska, Sandy. Welcome. Lovely to have you on the live. I'm just checking my emails, because apparently has sent me a question there. All right. So how can I help? How can I assist? What questions do you have? What can I do to be of service to you guys today? All right. Let me come back and check. Hey, Graham. Nice to have you on the call. Welcome. All right, I'm talking about the blame deflecting behavior. One's partner whenever there is an argument. Well, number one, often people deflect blame if they feel like they're being attacked. Okay, so this very much depends on how neutral you are, or how neutral the other person is. So if you are wanting to talk to someone about their feedback, if you are coming from a place of judgment, blame, shame, attack, if you have tone, the other person will most likely to deflect, because they feel like they're being attacked, and there is no room for them to be reflective and come up with something else. So often a large reason why someone will deflect blame or be unable to own what they're bringing to the table is because they feel like they are being attacked. And I will say that this is something a lot of people struggle with. A lot of people will say to me, "No, I'm really neutral," and then we'll do some work together, and they'll realize that they're actually not neutral. They're a long way from neutral. Neutrality has a certain feeling to it that is unmistakable, and when you understand what that is and where to look for that, then it's very, very clear whether you're being neutral or not. So remember, I do say a lot of the time, and I know this can be triggering for people or tricky for people to see, but the universe or life is always giving you instant feedback on how you are showing up. Please don't hear this as something is how someone else is showing up is your fault. This isn't about fault. Okay. This is about the fact that the world is continuously giving you feedback about how you are showing up. Okay. So it's really, really important. Okay, for you to be able to understand how you're showing up. Hugely, hugely, hugely important. It's such a massive piece of the puzzle because I really feel like people are showing up to life with a blindfold on. They're so busy looking out here, they haven't built the muscle of understanding how they are showing up and how that then impacts everything around them. And so when you actually have that understanding, you actually feel far more empowered because you feel like you've got a lot more choice than when you feel you're at the mercy of somebody else. So my advice to you is if you are in a relationship with someone who is deflecting blame, the first place you want to look at is you. Now, in relationships, this is very rare. Okay. When someone else is showing up in a way that we don't like, it's very unusual for people to, the first place for people to look is at themselves. Now, in the work with my private clients and in Relatable, this is something people learn very, very quickly how to do and where to look. And it is life changing for them and for the people in their lives. So, thanks, Han. I'm glad you found that. Glad you found clear to found. I'm glad to hear you found that helpful. Um, Kirsty, yes, thanks, Fiona. That helps. I just wasn't sure I turned into an adult that unknowingly struggled with big emotions when my parents didn't model any of that negative behavior. Well, Kirsty, we don't always get everything from our parents. Yeah, we get some stuff, but we're also very much tuned into whatever thinking shows up for us in the moment and where our level of awareness is too. Okay, these things play a very big part in how we deal with our own emotions. So yes, there are things that come from our childhood, but I think too much is placed on that. There are other things that come into play, and they are just as, if not, in my opinion, actually far more important to know and understand. And they are something that, when you understand, give you a lot more power and choice in the moment. Okay. So, it's not always mum and dad that model these things for us. Now, so if you have joined us live, feel free to say hi. I love to know where people are from and whereabouts in the world you are, whether you're in Australia or the US or Canada. I know this is generally a good time for US and Canada, not for our UK people. It's generally too early in the morning for you. But, hey, Cecily, nice to see you, honey. Nice to see you here from Norway. Welcome. Oh, I meant to say to you, I just realized that it was your birthday the other day. Happy birthday to you, Cecily. I'm so sorry that I missed that. I hope you had a beautiful day, darling. I really, really do. Happy birthday to you on your special day. Hey, Tanya. Hi. Nice to have you on the live. Yes, this is a good time for those of you in New Zealand. I know Tanya's in New Zealand. So welcome to the live, honey. So anybody else who's jumping on, do you have a question, a comment, an insight, something you want to share? How can I help you at all? Please let me know how I can be of service, because that's what this time is all about. What can I do? What are you struggling with? What do you need clarity around? I know some of you are here because you bought my ebook, The 3 Keys to Emotional Freedom. I will put a link to that in the chat. It's $5.90 US for those of you who are wondering how much it costs. But I know a lot of you have come to me because you've purchased my ebook. And I know a lot of you ask me for the link. So I'm going to pop that in the chat now and pop that up for you. So if you want to buy my ebook, it's called The 3 Keys to Emotional Freedom: How to Step Out of Relationship Overwhelm, Stop Overthinking and Get Your Power Back. So if you'd like to know more about that, feel free to check the link out there. And what else can I do to help you guys? One thing that I do want to talk about for a moment is, and I put a post up about this on my social media. I think it was yesterday or the day before. One of the things that I've seen in a lot of new clients coming my way recently is that we tend to drag the past around with us because we think innocently, and I'm going to say innocently, and then I'm going to say misguidedly, because I'm not attacking you or having any judgment of you. It's merely an observation. But we tend to think that we need the past in order to protect ourselves from the future or to protect ourselves from ever repeating mistakes. This is a myth. Okay. It really is. It's a big, big myth, and it's very problematic. You don't need the past to bring with you into the now or the future as a protective shield. It actually does the opposite. Okay. We think the past protects us from making the same mistake. What it does is actually flavor the present with the past. We then keep bringing it with us like a shield. We keep bringing it with us like like a big bag of like a big tumbleweed. I guess that's the word that I tend to use a lot, or the description I tend to use a lot. This is a mistake. You do not need to bring the past with you. And when you do bring the past with you, all you do is heighten the chance of that thing happening again and again and again. Okay? What you do is heighten the chance of that thing happening again and again and again, because you flavor the past with the present. It's on your mind, it's in your now, it's in your reality, and then you project it unknowingly out. Okay, you inject it unknowingly out to the world. And then the world starts reacting to what you project. Okay, the world is always reacting to what you project. You are not reacting to the world. The world is always, 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 always reacting to what you project. This is super, super important. Super, super important. Okay. The world is always giving you feedback around how you are showing up. So if you bring your past into the now, you are going to project it into your now and into your future, and you are going to up the chances of you repeating the same thing many, many, many times. You up the chances of that happening. Okay. You do not need to bring the past with you into your now. It is a myth that it protects you from the now. It's a myth that you need to keep it front of mind to keep yourself safe. That is not true. Okay. And it goes against the very foundation of how we are designed as human beings. All right. When you do that, you're making life much, much harder for yourself. And you are increasing your chances of repeating that same thing exponentially. Okay. There is no need for you to do that. And when you learn how we work as human beings, when you know how to navigate your humanness, and as you may have heard me say in previous lives, how we navigate our humanness is the operating system, sorry, of a human being is exactly the same. Okay, so when you know how to navigate yours, you can navigate anybody else's with a lot more ease, grace, and simplicity. Ease, grace, and simplicity. And really, that's how it should be. That's relationships really don't have to be complicated or hard at all. This is another one of those myths that gets peddled out there, and we absolutely overcomplicate things. All right, the little human, that's what we do. We overcomplicate things, overcomplicate our relationships, and then we get very stuck and very lost. All right, so I really just want to make that point. If you are bringing the past into your now, that's something you need to sort out. Really, really, really important, because you are increasing your chances of repeating the same thing exponentially. Okay. Okay, Cecily, can you still come from your truth wisdom even if you react to something or someone does that you don't like? Well, I, I, I guess my response to that would be is you can still handle something that someone brings to the table that you don't like, but all the emotion, all the upset, all the tone, judgment, blame, etc., that you flavor that with, yeah, that's not coming from wisdom. That's coming from your own insecurities. Okay. So if you're bringing that flavor of upset and shame and judgment and blame, that's your stuff. Okay, you can still address something from a place of neutrality. You can still say, hey, I don't really appreciate that, can we talk about it? Hey, what is it that makes you feel like that's a good idea? You can still bring those kind of conversations, but it's important that you bring them from a place of neutrality inside yourself, because when you do that, you've got the best chance of the other person truly hearing you. Okay, truly hearing you. And if you don't create a space for someone to be able to listen, then chances are it's going to go pear-shaped. And even though someone may have behaved poorly in your mind to you, it is still on you to create a space where they can hear what you have to say. They are responsible for it as well, but you are responsible for the space that you come from always. Always. I hope that helps, Cecily. And if you've just joined us, feel free to say hi and let me know where you are in the world. I always love to know where people are. And let me know if you're finding what I'm sharing or talking about helpful. If you've just joined us, I've just put the link up there for my ebook, The 3 Keys to Emotional Freedom. It's a book on relationships, helping you stop overthinking, step out of relationship overwhelm, and get your power back. So if you want to know more about that, you can click on the link there. And okay, great. Thanks, Cecily. Good to know, honey. Glad to know that that helped. And if you have just joined us and you have a question, feel free to post it in the comments below or let me know where in the world you are from. Always love to hear from people and know where you are. Okay, just going to double check that there aren't any more questions. So let me know, was that helpful what I just shared with you about the past and not bringing that into your now? Hey Rob, nice to have you join us. Thank you so very much. Looking forward to Relatable. Okay, beautiful. I'm not sure. Have you joined, Rob? I meant to check that the other day. Or have you joined, or are you about to join, or are you doing the program? I can't remember, Rob, because if you are, welcome. Natasha. Hi, Natasha. Hi, Fiona. My biggest insight from your program is that my thoughts thinking are not the truth, and asking myself, do I want to stay in this feeling? Big breakthroughs for me with family issues. Yeah, I know there have been, Natasha, huge. And I think what you have seen for yourself and what has come out of that has been truly amazing. I'm absolutely thrilled for you, honey. I really, really am. Absolutely thrilled. Thank you so much for sharing that for other people to know. Really, really, when you have this understanding of how to navigate your humanness, then everything is infinitely easier. And I mean everything. Everything. I have people coming to me saying that they get along better with their children, they feel calmer, they don't feel so stressed, they don't react to things, they've got less on their mind, they've got more clarity, they're more productive, they're eating better, they're like it just ripples out in so many um, okay, perfect. Beautiful, Rob. Awesome. Look forward to having you with us. Look forward to having you in the community in the program. You'll absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it. So, it's, people just see this ripple out in places that they can't even possibly imagine, right? So, because and I was actually just talking about this with a gentleman I'm working with this morning. One of the things he's noticed from working with me is that how much lighter he feels. And he said, I can't believe how much lighter I am, how much freer I feel just in general. It feels like I'm I'm floating more rather than I was so heavy. And he said, I can see now that I was so heavy before because I was so bogged down in my thinking, so bogged down. And I really want to say something about that. This is one of the biggest problems facing the world right now when it comes to our mental health, okay? Is people have chronic overthinking addictions and they don't know it. Okay. And when you have chronic overthinking addictions, this really, 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 really impacts your ability to connect with others, impacts your ability to access creativity, fresh ideas, and I guess a way to really get over yourself. Okay, so when that when you are bogged down in your thinking, every thought that you engage with has weight. It weighs, all right, and it's a weighted energy. Okay, so what tends to happen in relationships is because we are energetic beings, and it's our energy that impacts everything around us way before we do. Okay, way before our words, way before our physical self does, where our energy enters the room way before we do, and it impacts everything. So if you don't know the energy that you're bringing, you are going to, and you're wondering why things keep repeating, I'm telling you, it's got a lot to do with how you're showing up. And this is people's biggest blind spot, because people don't know where to look to understand that. All right, so your energy has weight. Your thoughts have weight. So when you are engaged in a lot of thinking, it'll feel like you are weighted down. Now, you won't know that after a while, because that just becomes your new normal, okay? And it will become invisible to you and you won't see it. But you'll find that your energy will impact the people around you, and people won't want to be around you as much, because your energy weighs everything down. Okay. So if you are someone who has a lot of thinking, or is used to engaging with every thought in your head, who does a lot of overthinking, you are going to be in a heavier energy than someone who does not do that. And so this gentleman that I'm working with really started to notice that. He said, I'm really noticing that my wife is in a heavier energy than me. I've never noticed that before. I'm really quite, I can see it now, because his energy has changed so much, because he has a different relationship with his thinking. As I often say to people in my work and my programs, when it comes to our relationships, you are not in a relationship with that person. You are in a relationship with your thinking about them. Okay, first and foremost, it's not two people in a relationship. It's two people in a relationship based on the thinking they have about each other in that relationship. That's actually the relationship that's at play. Not the people, but the thinking each person has. That's what everyone's engaging with and dancing with. Okay. And so this is invisible to most people. This is an invisible element. You've got two people, but really what they're engaging with and dancing with is each other's thinking. And that's actually where the relationship changes or improves, is in that space. Okay? Right here. This is where it all happens. It's not happening here, it's happening here. And this is something nobody talks about and very few people understand. And so if you don't understand this, you think what you're dealing with is this, then you're missing a massive piece of the puzzle, right? Huge piece of the puzzle is missing. All right. So this is module 1 of my relatable program. This is what I talk about. This is module 1, because I go there straight away. Okay. This is what we talk about. Because if you don't know how to navigate this, or you don't even know that this is going on, then you're going to find your relationships super, super, super challenging. And you're going to find them even more challenging to change, because you don't even know that this is what's at play here, right? You don't know how to navigate it. You can't see it. You don't have an awareness that this is even there. All right. But this is the everything. The everything. How you relate to this determines the energy that you bring to the room. It determines how personally you take things. It determines the level of goodwill that you bring. It determines your ability to deal with your emotions and somebody else's. It determines your ability to deal with differences. All the things that make or break relationships. Okay, so having an understanding of this is super, super important. Hence why, when I'm going to go back to Natasha's comment, when she says my biggest insight from your program, and she's talking about relatable, is that my thoughts, thinking are not the truth, and asking myself, do I want to stay in this feeling? So Natasha has seen that. Now, beforehand, that was invisible to her. So there was a lot of conflict in a number of areas. And so because she now has this understanding, she's navigating this completely differently. And so things are much, much, much easier, simpler, and calmer, right? So as she's saying here, lighter and calmer. Yes. Now, that feeling of lightness and calm is priceless. You cannot put a price on that. You just can't. It's the most amazing feeling. This is why I say to people, as someone who was very, 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 very stressed and angry, generally, the thought that I could ever feel light and calm was just so inconceivable to me. I couldn't conceive of it. Whereas now that's just a natural part of my everyday life. And I'm so, so, so grateful beyond words. I really am. I'm grateful beyond words. And this is what is available to each and every one of you. Okay. This is what is available to each and every one of you. Okay. So It doesn't matter what's happened in your past. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what's been going on in the relationship. This is available to you. I promise you that. And I teach you how in Relatable. It's very simple, very easy, very straightforward, and it makes an enormous amount of sense. People say this to me all the time. This makes so much sense, Fiona. It's so obvious. I can't believe I didn't see it before, right? So the way you show up flavors everything. Yep, that's it, Rob. Your goodwill is 100% on you. That's right. So you can absolutely significantly influence your own experience. Absolutely spot on, right? In fact, you are the creator. This is something else people do not know about themselves. They are the creator. You are the creator of your experience. Every moment, every single moment, you are the creator. So what do you want to create? That's up to you. You get to choose. You get to decide. Okay. And it's neither right nor wrong, but you want to know how powerful you are, because you are infinitely more powerful than you can ever possibly imagine. Hey, Cameron from sunny, warm Queensland. Well, thanks for that. Thanks for letting me know that, Cameron, that it's nice and sunny and warm in Queensland today. Actually, it's not too bad in Melbourne. The sun it's kind of slightly balmy, slightly. It won't be as warm and beautiful as where you are, Cameron, but it's not too bad today. I'm actually in short sleeves. That's very exciting that I'm actually wearing short sleeves. So hi, Cameron. Thanks for being on the call today. So let me just check in with everybody who's here. If you've just joined us, feel free to say hi. Love to know where in the world you are from. And if you have a question, please feel free to answer it in the comments, and I will do my very best to answer that for you. And if you have something you want to share, an insight, anything at all, feel free, anything at all. It's nice to know there are people out there. It's nice to know that I'm not just talking to myself. And yeah, let me know if I can be of any assistance. Melissa McGuinness. Hey, Melissa, welcome. Also from Melbourne. Hi to a local Melbourne girl. Welcome to the live chat. Nice to have you here. Thanks for saying hi. And let me know. Hi, Barbara. Hello. Nice to have you on the chat. Thanks for saying hi, Barbara. I recognize your name. I'm not sure. I recognize your name, Barbara, whether we've communicated before or I've seen your name, but I do recognize your name. I believe you are in the US from memory. Would that be right? If you could clarify that for me. Kirsty, what's your advice to help teenage kids who have pretty much checked out of online school? My niece is really struggling. Yeah, my daughter has checked out as well. She's had enough. And so I've taken all the pressure off. No, it's okay, Kirsty. Go for it. Ask away, honey. Look, my daughter is exactly in the same boat, Kirsty. She's really struggled. So what we did was I jumped on with one of her teachers, and we just narrowed down her coursework to her main subjects. I think it was English, Maths, Humanities, and Science, and we let everything else go. And we just did the bare minimum in those subjects towards the end, just the bare minimum. We let go of all the excess stuff and just focused on the bare minimum. And what my daughter did was work offline. So she stopped the whole online thing. She was given certain tasks via email, and that has what worked for her. And we just got her, she didn't have to go into every class. We just got her to do 2 or 3 hours a day. And that was that. I mean, it's school holidays now for our kids in Victoria anyway. So school's finished, but that's what we had to do to get her through the last 3 weeks of term, because she was done, absolutely done, hated it. And it was just, there's no point when they're checked out like that. You can't force them. It achieves nothing. They need to feel heard. And this is where we just worked with the school to do what was best for her, to get her across the line with the barest minimum input from her, and that really helped her. So I'm not sure it's something that you really want to work with your niece and with the school, but there is no point pushing, forcing, or fighting. It's, especially if your niece is in Victoria, those kids have been in remote learning for a very long time. And a lot of them have checked out and are struggling. So first of all, she needs to know she's not alone, and your niece's parents need to know that it's completely normal and it's okay. And the worst thing you can do is push. The absolute worst thing you can do is push. Let me know if that helps, Kirsty. Rob, your advice, I'm just starting and reading your ebook thus far, has brought me much peace. Thank you. Oh, my pleasure, Rob. Thank you. I really appreciate your feedback around that. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Barbara, thanks for letting me know where you are. SC, I'm guessing that's Sacramento, right? Is that what SC means, Sacramento? Annie, hi, Annie. Thanks for jumping on. I know. I can only imagine, Annie, as a teacher, how difficult it's been. I'm a teacher, so hard for students and parents. I really feel for you all. Happy holidays to you all in Victoria. So, yeah, thanks so much, Annie. I can only imagine how challenging it is for the teachers. I know you teachers jump on and all the students have got their cameras turned off and they don't say anything. And, it probably feels like you're speaking into a vacuum. So, hats off to all the teachers. This has not been easy at all. Yeah. South Carolina. I beg your pardon. Sorry, Barbara. Thanks so much for clarifying that. South Carolina. Wow. Beautiful part of the world, Barbara. Beautiful. I really feel people from South Carolina have the most beautiful accent, the beautiful tone to their voices. I've got clients I've worked with in South Carolina, and yeah, they just have the most beautiful. I love listening to their voices. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, Kirsty, it's really important that that your sister sees that this is not the be all and end all of life. Honestly, it's really not. And her bringing concern just creates more concern. And, it's totally normal. All of our kids, these kids, most of them are done. They've had enough. So, it's totally normal. It doesn't mean that your sister's doing anything wrong. And it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with your niece either. This is something that your sister really needs to know, so she doesn't put that onto her daughter, and that her daughter feels heard. Okay, really, really, really important that she feels heard and that she brings lightness and playfulness to this, because, coming on heavy and strong and putting lots of "you must do this" is just going to cause an explosion. Okay. Hey, Rob. Oh, you're a college professor. Wow. Okay, that's lots of kids need to hear your teaching. So many are stuck. Yeah, I know, Rob. So many. So many. It's not easy out there for our. This is a challenging time to be a child in whatever capacity, whether you're a young child or a tween teenager. It's really, really struggling. It's really a tough time to be a child at the most. A lot of uncertainty in the world and a lot of things that don't make sense. So yeah. So you're a college professor. So what do you teach, Rob? I'd be curious to know. And for those of you who've just joined us, feel free to say hi. I'm about to finish the live in just a few minutes. So if there's a question that you have or something that I can do to be of assistance, please, please, please let me know. And I'll do whatever I can to be of service and help you. I've just had a couple of people private message me and who want to know more about Relatables. So I always put the link up there. I'll do that. I almost forgot to do that. I'll do that for you here. If you want to know about my 8-week program, Relatable, where I teach you how to navigate your own humanness and that of everyone around you, and how to have how you can have ease, flow, and simplicity in every single relationship in your life, including the one you have with you. There is the link to Relatable on the screen for you. Okay. So yeah, anyone, I see a few people are joining us now. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask them. Hey, Brian. Hi, nice to have you on the chat, Brian. Welcome, Brian. Always lovely to see you. Thanks for being here and thanks for saying hello. Yeah, so I was talking before about how we bring the past around us like a protective cloak. And so those of you who've just tuned in, really important distinction that I made around that. You do not need to do that. One of the things that is so important to understand about human beings is that we are designed to be responsive to the now. And the now is where love resides. Now is where it's all at. And people struggle with that. They think that that's a super hard thing. And it's actually really simple. Okay, really simple. The thing that gets in the way is when you don't know how to navigate your own psychological functioning, when you don't know how to navigate your own thinking, when you don't know how to navigate your emotions. And this is not hard to do. It's actually simple. The understanding is simple. And I guess the application of that is very simple. But it's the one thing that blows relationships up. As I've said before, if there's one thing I could pinpoint that causes the breakdown of relationships, is people's inability to get over themselves. Okay? A person's inability to get over themselves. And this is why, if I'm working with a couple, I will always work with them separately first, always, because when a couple first come to me, the one thing they can't do is get over themselves. They've lost that ability, they don't have it. And I have to teach them that before I bring them together. There is no point bringing two people who are in low level of goodwill, who are positional, who are bringing a lot of fear and lack and anger and projection onto and blame onto each other, and who don't know how to get over themselves, and put them in a room together. That is like putting kerosene onto a fire. That is not setting people up for success. Okay. And, I often say that if you're doing that, the person who is facilitating things with you, I just don't think they understand how important this is. Right. So I always work with people when I'm working with a couple. I work with them separately first, and they see massive change very quickly through the stuff we do individually, and then I bring them together at the end when I think they are ready. And how do I know when they're ready? When they know how to get over themselves easily and effortlessly, and they're able to move past things without the residue easily and effortlessly. Now, when you can do that, relationships thrive and soar. They really, really do. As in, when I say soar, soar like an eagle, not soar like a wound, soar like an eagle. So this is incredibly important. Amanda, hi, Amanda. Good morning. Now, I also recognize your name, Amanda. Are you in the UK? I'm presuming if you're saying morning, you must be in the UK. But I feel like I know you. I feel like I've seen your name pop up in the Insight Community Group or something, but I have a feeling you're in the UK. Sandy, I struggle with conversing with my adult sons. Why is that, Sandry? What is it that you struggle with, honey? Feel free to let me know what's the problem that you have around that, and how old are your adult sons? Brian, if you're a couple, don't jump into a boxing ring. This is the worst thing. Fiona changed more in an hour for me than we did as a couple in 3 years. Oh, thank you, Brian. That's very kind of you to say. Thank you. Thank you. And I have seen very profound things happen for you, Brian. I really have. And it's just been a beautiful, beautiful thing to be a part of, and an absolute privilege to see. I can't put into words. So thank you for that. Yes, can't sleep, so I thought I'd tune in from the UK. Yeah, it must be super like early morning for you there. I'm thinking like something, it's probably around 4:35 in the morning or something like that, isn't it, Amanda? But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for thinking this is a worthwhile thing to do when you can't sleep. So thank you for that, Amanda. I do appreciate that. Yeah, so and Sandy, if you could let me know, give me a little bit more context around what it is that you struggle with when it comes to conversing with your adult sons, that would be really, really, really helpful. That would help me give things a little bit more context. And for anyone else who's just joined us, feel free to say hi and let me know where you're from. If you have a question at all, I'm shutting this live off in just a few minutes, so now's your time to ask me. Listening to you has helped me very much with my family. Okay, beautiful. Okay, that's so great to hear, Barbara. Wonderful to hear that. I really appreciate you letting me know that, Barbara. Thank you so much. Brian, relatable, fix my sleep issues. Oh, Fiona, it just keeps rolling. Thank you, Brian. Oh, that's so funny. Thank you, Brian. You're beautiful. You really are. You're gorgeous. Seems as though I just don't know how to communicate with them. Well, what happens? Like, how do you know you don't know how to communicate with them, Sandy? How do you know? Like, what is your evidence to suggest that you don't know how to communicate with your sons? If you could let me know that, that would be great. Hey, Maz. Hi. Nice to see you, honey. Thanks for jumping on this Friday afternoon. Lovely to have you here. I'm wondering, Sandy, and I don't know enough about the technology. I'm sure I can. I might be able to. Um, No, I'm not sure if I can bring you on live. I'm sure there is a way to do that where I can actually ask you a few more questions. But if you could let me know, Sandy, how do you know that you don't know how to communicate with them? Now, I'm guessing, is that because you feel awkward around them? You feel self-conscious around them? Do you feel like you're walking on eggshells around them? Is that what you mean? Is that how you know that? Or is it because they never reach out to you? Um, Melissa, any advice on how to build your self esteem as an adult if you've had a history of physical and mental abuse? Yes, absolutely, Melissa. First of all, I teach this in my online program, Relatable, and it's really easy and simple, and you do not need to go back into the past. So, first of all, I would highly recommend that. That absolutely nails it completely. And I know that might sound like an arrogant thing to say, but this is the feedback I get from everybody who goes through it in many, many ways. Rebuilding your self-esteem, Melissa, is as simple as understanding and getting to know your own true nature. Because when we lose our self-esteem, so to speak, um, it's only because we believe that what happens in the past has damaged or tainted us in some way, that in some way we are broken and that we need fixing. And when you come at it from that perspective, it goes on and on and on and on, and things won't change. And yeah, Brian's saying relatable is amazing for this. It really is, because I mean, I think it would be fair to say, Brian, that you had pretty massive self-esteem issues as well when you started the program. So honestly, Melissa, it's easier than you think, simpler than you think. Okay, much easier and simpler, because you know I'm looking at your true nature, who you really are, or what you are, as opposed to who you think you are. And they're two very, very, very different things, and they're two very different things to navigate. And so, when you tune into your true nature, all of that stuff that you've believed to be true about the fact that somehow you're broken or missing, or there is something wrong because of what's happened in your past, falls off. And I mean falls off. I've literally had things like this happen. Thanks, Brian. Thanks for stopping by. I've literally had things happen with clients where they've had some sort of horrific evidence situation happen, whether it's been a rape or violence or you name it. Okay, I've worked with all sorts of situations and all sorts of people, and I've honestly had people say to me that what has happened after they've learnt this understanding is that the thinking they have had around that thing has fallen off. That's what it feels like. It's fallen off. It's like that mental load they've had has been put down, and they feel lighter, freer, calmer, clearer, and they haven't had to go back into the past and dredge around and relive any of that stuff and re-traumatize themselves. You do not need to do that. And this is why I made the comment before about people who bring the past around with them like a protective cloak, because they think they've got to keep remembering the past in order to protect them from the now or the future. And that is an illusion, and it actually makes things worse. What people don't understand is every moment is a clean, fresh canvas. And this is true. Every moment is a clean, fresh canvas. And if you know where to look for that, and you know what I mean by that, you will realize that the past has nothing to do with the now, which is contrary to what we are constantly being told. And it's contrary to what we are told, that somehow by rummaging around in the past, that's where we find the answers. There is no answers to be found in the past. You do not find answers in the past. There is nothing new there. Okay? Nothing new. I know this can be triggering for people, but it's true. There is nothing new to be found in the past. The past is just the same stuff that we already know. And change comes from the things that we don't know. Change comes from fresh thinking, fresh ideas, a different reality. And people can't imagine that because they're stuck in this reality. Okay. But when you know how to access that, which is an enormous part of what I teach, and everybody can, then the past starts to have less and less and less relevance, as it should, because it has no relevance. It's just that the old approach to psychology is that all the answers lie in the past. But, that doesn't make sense when you think about it. Okay? The past is just full of what we already know. How can you find something new in what we already know? Okay, it's like, as I've said, it's like rummaging around in the attic for the kitchen sink. You won't find it, right? But this is what we do. You don't find anything new in what you already know. You have to know where to look for something fresh. And this is the same with you, Sandy. Okay. Yes, it would, Roz. It probably um, would um, would change things for your mum. Um, yes. So, Sandy, if you want to get past the superficial stuff and talk deeper, what I'm going to suggest to you is that you're bringing a lot of fear about how they're going to react, fear around what they think of you. You're bringing fear. And so what happens is your energy of fear enters the room and your sons don't feel so comfortable around you. And hence why it becomes superficial. Again, not your fault, Sandy, but you've got to, but what I'm going to guess is you're bringing a lot of fear into your interactions with your sons. You're putting a lot on them. Okay, not meaning to. It's not your fault, Sandy, but that's what's happening, and that's why your sons are struggling, or it just stays superficial because it's like, oh, let's just keep it light. We don't want to rock the boat with mum. We rock the boat with mum, I don't know what's going to happen. And so let's just keep it light. Let's just keep it nice and light, nice and simple, nice and easy, nice and light. Okay. So this is what I mean by once you get to know your the flavor that you're bringing, Sandy, and you bring a different energy to things, you'll be able to show up to your sons from a place of empowerment, not fear. And there'll be a lot more room and space for you to actually have a completely different conversation that's not so loaded, Sandy. Okay. Again, if you really want to know how to do this, honey, I teach all of this in Relatable. Honestly, this is why I say it will help you with any and every relationship in your life. If it's a relationship with your children, your sons, if it's with siblings, in-laws, friends, partners, it's the same because it doesn't matter what relationship you're dealing with, the solution is the same. Okay. That's the beautiful thing about this. The solution is the same. And you will be able to see what it is, what flavor it is that you're bringing to the table. Okay. Yes, Rob, this will absolutely detach that anchor. Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. For sure. For sure. For sure. I've got a sister who's just gone through chemo and radiation therapy because she's had breast cancer, and she has this understanding, and she moved through that so differently because of this understanding in her life. I can't tell you how she's approached her journey with cancer, just unbelievably different because she has this understanding, and she's, my whole family do. So we approached it with her from a different space. We didn't bring fear into it. We just came from a completely different place. And she went through her radiation and chemo journey so differently to many, many people that we met along the way because of this understanding. So yeah, there is not an area in your life where this won't help you. Promise you. Natasha, it's life-changing, Rob. I went through chemo 3 years ago too. Yeah, absolutely. That's right. You did too, Natasha. That is so true. Yeah. Well, Rob, I promise you, you will not feel broken. You won't, Rob. You will not feel broken at all. You will start to see through the illusion of brokenness, and it's an illusion. Maz, it sounds almost unbelievable, but with the understanding that you will access in Relatable, it just makes sense and comes so automatically. Yes, it does. It makes sense, and things just flow in a way that you can't believe. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to try so hard, right? You don't have to try so hard. And Rob, I'm so sorry to hear what you've gone through with your cancer journey, Rob. I can't even imagine. I mean, that is such a journey, Rob. And for anyone going through a cancer journey, I mean, I've watched my sister just go through it. I'm in awe of you. In awe of you, really, in awe. But this is the amazing thing about human beings. We are capable. We can handle so much more than we ever can truly imagine or give ourselves credit for. Like, it blows me away what human beings are capable of. And I see this all the time in Relatable with the calls we have every week with the students, the conversations floor me with what people come out with and what people say and what people see for themselves. It's just the most beautiful, beautiful thing. Yes, Sandy, it is, honey. It's going to be you. And when you know how to deal with that stuff, honey, you will find this will completely change. how you show up to your sons and how you feel about you. Honestly, I can't even tell you the difference in the quality of feeling that is available to you and to anybody. The amount of people that put up with or settle for such a low quality feeling in their day-to-day lives, and I mean within themselves, is unbelievable to me. There is so much more on offer than what you're experiencing now. Honestly, it's I can't put it into words, but you just need to trust me on this. There is so much more available than what you are experiencing right now. People settle for things that pale into or that are just so, what's the word? So far away from what is actually possible. Honestly. My pleasure, Rob. My pleasure. Natasha, you're on a growth journey now. That's right. You absolutely are, Rob. So, everybody, I want to thank you for being here on the live. Thank you so much for saying hi. If you want to know about Relatable, I've put the link up there. If you've got any questions, ask them in the post. There are lots of people on this chat right now that have done Relatable that will happily answer any of your questions. I don't pay them to be here. But if you've got a question, these are the guys to ask it of. And lots and lots of love to you all. And if you have a question that you want to ask me, send me an email to hello@fionalukis.com.au, and I will answer that for you. I will answer that for you next Friday. Okay, so thank you, everybody. Lots and lots of love to you all, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Ciao.